strategy that I tend to steer clear. Okay? I don't like being associated with it. However, this definitely exists, and a lot of the whales in the game play. And that is community profiting. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in this lecture. So essentially, what you're doing here is you're using the community to get a pulse on what's likely to pump. So watching YouTubers is a great way of pumping a cryptocurrency. So me, for instance, whenever I talk about a cryptocurrency, people tend to pump it. They tend to pump it for a very short term because all of a sudden I'm putting it in front of lots of people. I've got 54,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I'm putting it in front of lots of people. And so people pump it because I'm making it very visible to people. And people try and get in there as early as possible. So when I do my live episodes, sometimes people really pump a coin. And by the time I've finished my live broadcast, it's already done. Okay? So people watch YouTubers, particularly the ones that have large communities, large subscriber bases, and they will pump that coin that they're talking about as early as possible and dump it. Then there's pump and dump groups. Now, I'm not part of any pump and dump groups. These are organized pumps. These are people that they're typically a community of people, which I'll talk about in a second. It's a community of people either operating in a Slack channel or a Telegram channel or one of these channels that you can have on a mobile app. And they organize a cryptocurrency to pump and then dump. Okay, because what normally happens is that they will pick a cryptocurrency that is under the radar or is probably oversold. They see that it's right at the bottom, and then they pump it, but they organize pump it. So if you go on Bittrex and you look at their biggest gainers of the day, or top gainer, or top volume, and you look at the coin, you think, never heard of that before. Sometimes it's because it's an organized pump. Because a group of people, sometimes with high amounts of tradable money, they will get involved in this cryptocurrency, they will pump it, and then the speculative buyers will say, oh wow, look at this, this is really pumping, and they will go into it as well, and they will really skyrocket the price and send it right in front of people, putting it on the biggest gainers on Bittrex. This is an organized pump. People say, why is this pumping? What's happening? Typically, nothing is happening. It's just a cryptocurrency that looks like it's at the right stage to pump. A community, a pump and dump community, get behind it and they pump it. The speculative buyers get involved in it, and it pumps it to such an extent it gets in front of everybody. And this typically burns people. This is why it's really, really pivotal to set a stop loss. Now, these groups, now you can make your own group if you really want to do this. This is what a lot of whales do. They do this full time. They're part of groups, or they create groups. Now, it all depends really on how much the people within the group have to throw at a cryptocurrency. So I certainly know of people that are involved in communities where there's literally 20 to 30 people, but they're whales. There's 20 to 30 people that can just chuck 100 Bitcoin at something and it not really dent their holdings, okay? So if you put like 100 Bitcoin behind something times 20, that can really skyrocket a price, particularly if it's got a low coin supply, because that's open to more volatility. And so people, these people, these whales, will get behind it, really spike the price, make a huge profit, and then get out. And then if you've got smaller amounts of money that can be thrown at a cryptocurrency, then you'll probably need anything from 1,000 to 10,000 people in a community, all getting behind a coin, putting whatever they have behind it, agreeing to a sell price, and then once it hits the price that they sell at, they all sell en masse. So this is how pump and dump groups really thrive in cryptocurrency, because they throw a lot of money at it en masse, and then they sell en masse. Okay, so that is how a pump and dump group operates, and that is how they can pump and dump a coin without any actual market news behind them. And this is just basic price manipulation. Okay, the price isn't going up because of any news, because of anything significant. Sometimes the price can go up on a completely dead project. Okay, like for instance, Chainpoint, that went up times 100, and it was a dead project. The developers stopped working on it some time ago, but a group of people got behind it and they manipulated the price. They bought in quite high. They encouraged a lot of speculative buyers that got involved. I actually got involved in this, but I didn't know it was a pump and dump. I actually said, wow, this is really spiking. Lots of people really pumped that up. And it was pure price manipulation, no actual value. It was just pure putting a ton of money into it made it very volatile, made it go up incredibly in price, and then subsequently it dumped. It went from 6 cents to $6, and now it's worth about 10 cents. So that is how to profit using a community. So you can either use YouTube, or you can create a community or join a community. And some of these communities actually charge you to actually be involved. And the reason why is because they want to, I suppose, vet you and make sure you've actually got the disposable income to get involved in these groups. They don't just take anyone, they take people that have a lot of money, a lot of disposable money, to actually get involved in the community profiting, in the pump and dump. So this is an area I basically keep my hands away from. I don't want to get involved in this. I like to trade on a coin that has actual value because it's easier to not get burned, because you know that there's actual value behind the price spike. Whereas in this, you can get burned at any time. And I know people that have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars getting involved in pump and dump groups. I don't recommend it, but it does happen, and it's a way that you can profit. So, if that's clarified that, I'll see you in the next lecture. Right, next I want to talk about swing trading. Okay, swing trading is essentially a bit like buying the rumor, selling the news. But this is the term for it, swing trading. Okay, so swing trading on a short-term basis is basically trading a coin's price swings for gain. So let's say there's a rumor that something's going to happen with a coin in 2 weeks' time. Across those 2 weeks, there's going to be some swings in the price. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go up, it's going to go down. Towards the actual date, it really goes up, and then it goes down on the day, okay, on the date of the actual news. Now, during the price swing, so it's going up and down, you can essentially trade the same coin, and you can trade the price swings and make profits every time. Okay, so it goes up a little bit, 5%, you trade it, okay, and then it dumps, you make a profit again on the rise, 5% goes down. You can do that on the same coin and multiple coins. And on a short-term basis, this is exactly how to do swing trading. It's a bit like buying the rumor, selling the news, but this is more of a day-to-day kind of thing. This is more of taking a very, very short-term position and just getting incremental gains, trading the same coin. On a long-term basis, what people use swing trading for is to actually sell at a high, and then when it dumps, buy a whole load back, so increasing their position. So let's say I've got 200,000 of a coin, it goes up to $1, that means I've got $200,000. Now, if I see that that's at an all-time high, I can sell my large amount of coins in that cryptocurrency, and then it will go down to, let's say, 85 cents. Now, with that $200,000, I can buy a hell of a lot more back, so that when it goes up to $1 again, I make even more money. Okay? So that's how people do it on a long-term basis to actually increase their position. Let's say they bought 20,000 at ICO, and then the price really spiked, and they're thinking, God, I wish I bought 100,000. So what they do is they dump it, they dump their coins, they sell at a high, so that they've made a profit, and then with the profits they can buy back a lot more for less money. Okay, so that's how it works on a long-term basis. And typically what this involves is there's another way of doing swing trading, which is buying when something is oversold and selling when it's overbought. This is much easier to do. So I'm going to be showing you RSI, which is Relative Strength Index, in the technical analysis section. And this shows you essentially when a coin is oversold. That means people have just been selling it too much. They've really dumped it. They've dumped it really to the bottom. You buy at the bottom, and then it goes back up, and then it gets overbought because it's gone right to the bottom. All of a sudden, people get really interested because there's a lot of traders that use RSI. They see it's oversold. They buy a load of it. It suddenly gets overbought because speculative buyers enter in, long-term investors enter in, and then it gets overbought, and then they sell. That's another way of doing swing trading. But this is more of a longer-term position because it can take sometimes days or weeks for it to go from oversold to overbought. So swing trading could be a day thing. It could be a few days or weeks. Okay. Now this is how a lot of traders make their full-time income, because a lot of them are whales. A lot of them have built up a load of, Bitcoin over the time that cryptocurrency has existed. They got in there early, and then what they do is they use these Bitcoins to deposit large amounts in a cryptocurrency. It makes a little spike. They've made a huge profit out of that, even if it's 5 to 10%. If you're putting in a lot of money, you make a lot out of it. And so traders can make a full-time income on these pump and dumps, on this swing trading. And again, these can be organized. So these could be pump and dump groups. Okay, so essentially they pump it and they trade on the swing, and they essentially just make gains. So this is another way in which swing trading works. So swing trading is essentially capturing the gains on a coin because the price is swinging for whatever reason, whether it's a pump and dump movement or because there's actual news coming out about it in the future, and the price typically goes up and down, all the way in the lead up to the news. Sometimes it's just a smooth trajectory up, but often people get weak. They are weak hands, as is called in cryptocurrency. They sell out much sooner than they were going to because they just want to make a small gain. That is how you can make money with swing trading. What is margin trading? Because margin trading comes up on a lot of exchanges. If you look on some exchanges like Poloniex, for instance, you will see it has margin trading. People say, what is that? Essentially, what margin trading is borrowing. It's borrowing from a broker to buy cryptocurrency. And typically, the reason why people do this is because they don't have enough money to put behind the cryptocurrency to make savage gains. So what they do is that they know a coin is going to pump. This is typically the circumstance by which it happens. They know a coin is going to pump. They want to put a lot of money behind it, but they don't have the money to make the insane gains they could make. So they borrow from a broker to put even more money into the cryptocurrency and then be able to trade on the price swings. So this is a way of gaining more money for trading. Okay, so if you haven't got enough to really, you know something's going to go up, maybe 50%, maybe even 5,000%. You know it's going to come up. You don't have the money you want to put behind it to make really amazing great gains. What you do is you borrow it. And you've got to be certain of the pump to make it worthwhile. If you think something's going to go up, that's not good enough. You've got to be almost certain, right, there is some market news. There is a pump and dump group right behind it. You need to know the pump is going to happen to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, you're going to be borrowing money. And if you lose what you borrow, then you're going to be owing money. So you've got to kind of be certain. There's got to be an element of certainty when you are getting involved in margin trading. Now, margin trading tends to be only available to larger buyers. Okay, so if you are a small-time cryptocurrency trader, you won't be accepted. They really take people with over $1 million in net worth. Okay, so if you've got a net worth of over $1 million, you're more likely to get it because they know you're more likely to be able to pay it back. They're not just going to take it off any poor person and just say, we'll just wait for you to be able to pay me back. No, they have to be more certain. I mean, these are exchanges offering this service. So it's only really available for larger buyers. And it is available on a lot of exchanges. Not all of them, but on a lot of exchanges. Like GDEX, it's available on Poloniex. So that's margin trading, if you ever wondered what it was. And really, it's only relevant to you if you've got a net worth of over $1 million. So how do the pros make sure they don't get burnt when something goes up massively because of the news? I'm going to show you this right now. Let's just go to Bittrex. Okay, now I'm going to use a coin as an example of what to do when a coin suddenly explodes in value. Okay, using AMP as an example. Let's assume AmpCoin has just gone up. Let's just assume that a bit of market news has come up and it's saying AmpCoin have just released a new wallet. Absolutely amazing, sparkly new wallet that, all of its users have been waiting for so they can store their cryptocurrency off the exchange. Okay, so that news comes up. All of a sudden, it gives the ability for AmpCoin to explode in value. All right, so let's just assume I've bought 142 AmpCoins. Okay, it's gone up. That I bought it at 4200. It's gone up to 4234. Excellent. Okay, so I'm in profit. But what happens when I go to sleep? Okay, this could go down to 4,800 sats. Okay, so how do I stop myself getting burnt? Okay, so a bit of news has come out. How do I stop myself from getting burnt? This is where you use the sell orders and stop losses. Okay, so what do the pros do? So what the pros do is they instantly go, right, if the price goes down below the price I bought at, on or below, I sell it all immediately. Okay, that is basically what the pros do. They take the transaction fee as a hit. Okay, when in some cases it's not very much, in some cases it's quite a bit, but it's a lot less than getting burnt and losing, you know, all of a sudden a fifth of its value or a quarter of its value. I mean, can you imagine what that would do to some of the whales that are trading right now? I mean, they can lose six figures overnight over, you know, not having some sort of security measure. So they've got their 142 AMP coins. The price has been basically inflated because of some market news. Now what they do is they go to bed and they make sure they don't get burnt overnight. So they will put a sell order at the price they bought at, or maybe a little bit more. So they probably put, you know, 5220 rather than 5200. So they basically can, you know, save on some of the transaction fees that would come at selling at the exact price they bought at. Okay, so that is something that they do. Something else, because a lot of how other, you know, cryptocurrency traders do it is, let's say the price goes up here. Sometimes the price can go down a bit and then really explode. Okay, it can go down a bit and then go right up. Okay, and if they've sold it all when the price goes slightly down a bit, then they can't benefit from when it goes right up. So this is what they do. They put a stop loss in. Okay, so what happens is that they go on something like Bittrex. You use the tools. They have very similar tools on other exchanges. Okay, so it may not look exactly like this, but it looks pretty much like this. Okay, so what they would do is they would have the price they want to sell at. So let's say that is, let's say rock bottom. If it goes below this price, sell it all, but it gives a bit of room for it to still grow. So that would be 5,000 sats. Okay, so there's still room for it to grow. You know, if it goes down, if it loses 243 sats, then that's it. It's dead in the water. Sell it all. Okay, so they would put that as the, you know, once it hits that price, sell it all. Okay, but what they can do is they can sell incrementally until that price, if a certain price is hit. Okay, so if we put a conditional order, now basically conditional means if it hits this, do this. Okay, it's a bit like having a formula, running a formula. If this happens, conduct this action. Okay, so good till cancelled means that it will sell it incrementally. Immediate or cancel means it will just get rid of the whole thing. So if it hits a certain price, it'll just get rid of all of it. So you want to sell it incrementally just in case the price explodes again. Okay, it goes down and then it explodes again. So good till cancelled. So you've got your absolute sell price. Okay, if it goes below this price, you know, you've given it enough of a window for it to perform, and if it doesn't perform, just sell the hell out of it, because I don't want to make a big loss. I don't want this to go down to 4,800 sats or even less than that. Okay, so you put it at 5,000 as the absolute end price. Okay, so if it's less than or equal to this price, then it will start selling incrementally. So you'd enter here 5230. So at the moment it's 5301. Okay, so if it goes down to 5230, it will start selling incrementally until it hits this price, where it will just sell it all. All right, so that's what you're going to be doing. If the price is the equivalent of this price or less than, it will start selling incrementally. And then once it hits 5,000, it will sell it all. So that is how the pros do it. That is how the pros stop themselves getting burnt when a piece of market news explodes a coin, or even if they are investing in a coin for the short term because they think, oh, right, I've got a good feeling about this coin. I've got a good feeling that Binance could go up to $5. Okay, so I'm going to invest in this coin because I've got a really good belief. Given, you know, the market conditions, given, you know, this is a Chinese, you know, orientated exchange, given they're going to be doing some ICOs, this could go up much higher in value. So they have this feeling, right? So, you know, BNB is going to go up to $6. But if it goes below $2.30, let's say they bought it at $2.50. If it goes below $2.30, sell it all. And then they stop themselves getting into the predicament where if it goes down to 208, they've gotten burnt because they've already sold it. So that is how the pros stop themselves getting burnt on a trade. Okay, so there's two types of cryptocurrency, you know, trading, I suppose. There's the trading aspect, which is short term, and then there's the investing aspect, which is long term. And if you're getting into a cryptocurrency for long term doesn't necessarily matter. Well, it does matter. You don't obviously want to invest in a cryptocurrency that's going to lose value, but the price matters less in investing because you've got a long way to go when you're investing in something for the long term, because you're going to be investing for a period of months or years or even decades maybe in some cases. So this price of $2.08 is probably not even, touching the surface of where this is going to be. This could, easily go up to $5, $10, $20, dependent on how much this coin gets picked up and how much the Chinese markets and future ICOs impacts this coin. So this could go up hugely. But if you're doing the short-term aspect of trading, then this is how you stop yourself getting burnt and how you enable yourself to win most of the time. Okay, so going back to AmpCoin, this is what will happen if a trader is going to go to bed and they haven't yet hit their profit point. So as a trader, if something has just, hit the headlines, if AmpCoin has just hit the headlines because of this wallet, okay, they're probably going to want to sell at 6,000 sats, okay, or 5,700 sats. That is where they see themselves going out. That's where they exit the trade, okay? But to stop themselves losing money, they enter either a sell order and or a stop loss, which means that it will sell it incrementally until it hits the absolute end point, all right? So that's how the pros do it in day trading, and they decide on their exit point, in which case what they do is they will cancel their order, because that order is basically good until they cancel it, all right? So they cancel the order, and then they sell it at a profit. That's what they mostly do. They don't look for humongous profits. A lot of them sell well before, it's really peaked. But the reason why is because they want to make sure they are profiting every trade. They don't get emotional about it. They can't predict when it's going to stop rising, okay? Sometimes a coin just reaches its peak and then it goes down. So they sell before the peak. They sell before it, or sometimes even just after it, because they don't want to lose money. So that is how the pros do it. That is how the pros mitigate their losses. So let's now talk about making a profit. This is something that I hear from a lot of the people that I teach and people in the community. When do I cash out? When do I cash out? When's the best moment to leave a trade? Well, this is something that I'm hoping you will develop for yourself and not actually rely on other people's profit points, their sell-off points, in order for you to make your own. You need to decide your own profit points. Now, I am well connected to a number of cryptocurrency traders. Some have been doing this for years, okay? So I know the tactics of some of the real whale investors, okay? So I'm going to be bringing this to you right now. So one of the most profitable ways consistently that whales make their money with cryptocurrency is daily gains, okay? Just daily gains, 5 to 10% gains, and then they leave, okay? Now, cryptocurrency may go up 50, may go up 100, may go up 4,000%. This has happened to me before. These things can happen on a daily basis. It can go up to a huge number. But what you really want to be looking for is consistency. Sometimes it goes 5 to 10, sometimes it goes a hell of a lot more, sometimes it doesn't even reach 6%, sometimes it doesn't even reach 3%. So really, the way of being consistent is to just look for 5 to 10% daily and exit. Okay, sometimes you can do this, and this is what the full-time traders do. This is exactly what they do, 5 to 10% a day. They trade the same coins day in, day out, or different coins. But either way, they just make their profits. They normally put large sums of money, and they take away quite a bit by just getting 5 to 10% profit. So this is what the full-timers do, and this is actually one of the most effective ways of building a retirement fund through trading. Then we've got kind of news and speculation. So these are, I suppose, more of the ad hoc times that cryptocurrency really spikes in value. Okay, and this is more than just, the community's active, or somebody's spoken about it on one of the big cryptocurrency forums, or somebody's mentioned it maybe in the news. This is actually something that affects the cryptocurrency and updates it, enhances it maybe. So we're talking about they've created a new wallet. They are launching a beta release or alpha release or finished product, or they are pivoting and adding something else. There's all kinds of things that constitute market news, lots of things, which can initially drive up demand for that cryptocurrency. And also, this mixes in with speculation. News drives up the price. And that leads speculators to go into a trade speculatively, right? They see something's going up, they go into it speculatively. So these two work in tandem a lot. And sometimes there is no news, but there's speculative news. Like, for instance, today there was some speculative news about Ethereum Classic. It went up 20%. It went up 20% really in Korea. Korean people using the Korean exchanges were really pumping it up. And people would speculate, oh, something must be happening. And so people just jump into it, and that can drive the price up even more. So sometimes there is no news, it's just speculation. And in these instances, you can make huge amounts of gain. But these are the ad hoc ones. These are when something really significant happens to a crypto. It's not just, looking for a coin that's having good movements on a day-to-day basis, being spoken of positively by the community, and people are getting behind it. No, this is actually something significant happening. And in this case, you can make anywhere between 20 to 50% gain and then exit. This is what the part-timers do. So I would class myself in this area. I tend to do investing in the main. And then I tend to do trading when there is something to trade. Okay? If there's an opportunity to make some money, then it is a good time to actually get involved, because trading is non-emotional. It's non-emotional, which means you don't have to get invested in it. You don't have to become a big fan of it. You just literally trade the news, trade the speculation. So this all depends on how much do you want to get out of it. Sometimes you get times 2 investment, times 3 investment out of it. You get times 2, times 3 multiplier. You put 1,000 in, you turn to 3,000 literally in the course of hours. But this is one that's harder to achieve, okay? And not every single piece of news or speculation leads to 20 to 50% gain. Sometimes the market sells the news way before the news actually becomes live. Okay, so let's say a cryptocurrency, Suppoman, is going live in like 3 days. All of a sudden, everybody starts spiking up the price. They're like buying because it's big news, something's coming up, something big's coming up, so they get into it. But what could happen is literally a big segment of the people that have traded it think, right, I've got my profit point, I'm out. It makes the price crash, and then the rest of them take their profits as well. And then it can make the price completely crash well before the actual news. So 3 days before the news, it can crash. Okay, it literally could achieve its main spike in a couple of hours and then go completely. Okay, so not always does this happen. Okay, so sometimes you will make the gains, sometimes you won't. Okay, and this is what the part-timers do. If you just want to make the speculative trade every now and again to complement your investing, this is kind of what you do. And then we've got trending cryptocurrencies. Now, trending cryptocurrencies are when you are anticipating the high. Something else has just exploded, and you get behind the cheapest, next best cryptocurrency to that one that's just spiked. And normally what happens is people will see it's too late to get into the one that's already boomed, so they jump into the one that's really cheap. And that normally makes the price explode. Now, it's in these instances that I have made probably the most money in trading. Okay, so one of these happened with a Masternode coin. I'll speak about that in a minute. But Masternode coins were really trending at the time, and I got behind one that hadn't been pumped yet. And literally during the course of my YouTube video, it got pumped, and it went up to 4,000% gain, and I got out. Okay, trending cryptocurrencies can lead to real explosions, and again, this is an ad hoc thing. This happens every once in a while. You get a trend. Okay, where one particular class of cryptocurrency is really trending, and you get behind it. Okay, whether it's Masternode coins or privacy coins or building cryptocurrencies, doesn't matter. But sometimes one particular class of cryptocurrency could be trending, and you need to look for the cheapest, and that tends to be the one that gets pumped. So, making a profit. These are the ways you can make profit with short-term trading. And each have a different kind of profit point. Sometimes you get out very, very early, you make a small gain, you get out, you move on to the next one, make a small gain, and you just keep on doing that until you're rich as anything. Or you can just do it part-time. Something comes out every now and again, something's either trending or there's some big market news, and then you make the trade and you ride the wave. So those are different ways you can make profit, but you need to decide your own profit points. Don't go on someone else's, because that will lead to you getting burned. A lot of traders, they make their own minds up. They know when they're going out, and you can't rely on them to say, oh, by the way, mate, I've just got out. They won't do that. They'll be too busy counting their money or counting their blessings they got out at the right time. They're not going to be thinking about anybody else. So don't rely on anybody else. Think of your own, and these are the kinds of percentage gains you can make depending on the type of news. So I hope that's helped, and I'll see you in the next lecture. So how do you know that you can make a profit on a cryptocurrency? This is where you've got to do some profit preparation. You need to kind of get a pulse on what's happening in the community so that you can jump on something before it peaks. If you jump on something during the peak, you stand to risk either losing it or making a very small profit. So you need to get a pulse. You need to really be behind the community. It's one of the hardest things to do because a lot of people that are in the investing and trading game are lazy and they rely on others to essentially inspire them to trade or invest in a cryptocurrency. This is bad. The best thing you can do, and really the best position that you want to be in, is that you are in the know. And you are the one that has the control. Not somebody else being in control, you have the control. Because you can't really differentiate from the people that are just trying to essentially drive up the demand for their coin and have actually got nothing to back it up, versus the people who actually have got some news. So be in control and do it yourself. And this is how. Join communities, join Twitter, follow coins, okay? Follow all of the major coins, all of the newer coins, all of the coins you're excited about. Follow them on Twitter and join the Facebook groups related to cryptocurrency and understand the pulse. What are people excited about? What have people heard? Because what happens in cryptocurrency, particularly these communities like the Cryptocurrency Investment Club, like the Suppoman's Mastermind group, essentially what happens is people let others know a piece of news. And they let them know because they've gone into it themselves and they're driving up demand. And that is not a bad thing because they're letting you know something's about to pump, they've just got in on it, and then you need to do your research, understand this is happening, this is truth, and then get in, and then you can ride that wave with them. So communities can be very helpful because sometimes it benefits them to let you know that something is going to happen because that drives up the price too. If it kept them to themselves, their demand might not be there to drive up the price for that short-term spike. So understand what's the pulse of the community. What are people saying in all of the different groups you can join? And also check Google News and just make sure you've got it to check. Set up alerts to your phone. If something comes up in the news channels, in any of the news channels, Mashable or CoinDesk or any of the major cryptocurrency sources of news, make sure you set up alerts so that every time a piece of news comes in, you set it up on Google or you set it up on your RSS feed, and you basically make news articles come to you that put keywords in it. So if it says cryptocurrency, it can go to you. If it says Ripple, if it says Bitcoin, if it says whatever cryptocurrency you're already following, make sure that an alert is set up so that if it gets in the news, it goes to your phone and you know what's going to happen at the time. Also, check on Google. When you see something's happening in the community, when you see that people are saying stuff about crypto, if you look on CoinMarketCap and you see a crypto is really surging in price, do a Google search, have a look and see what's happening, quality check the information, and then you can get behind it. Make sure that you've got money ready on Bittrex. Now, this sounds counterintuitive because on a lot of occasions, people want to keep their money in Coinbase or keep it in the wallet. Now, a lot of the time, I have money ready on Bittrex. Okay, now this may sound counterintuitive, like I said, but sometimes, especially like right now, it's November 2017. There's a fork of Bitcoin about to happen in about a week and a half, and essentially, Bitcoin transaction times are really slow. So if you wanted to send from Coinbase to Bittrex, could take 15 minutes, could take 24 hours, in which case you miss the opportunity. So I've always made sure I got some money on Bittrex, and Bittrex is where most of the cryptocurrencies are that you can trade. So if you have money ready on Bittrex, then once you've seen what the pulse is, you can get straight on Bittrex and you can just invest. Don't risk more than you can afford. Okay, the last thing that you want to do is go all out, and then if you lose, you could end up, you could end up in trouble. You could end up owing money to people, or you could end up having to sell something to recoup the loss. Don't risk more than you can afford. Sometimes, and I know a lot of whales, they put 6 figures into one trade. Now that is very, very difficult to stomach, but they do. And they are very, very steel-stomached about it. They don't get emotional. They don't get upset. They lose it. Well, they can afford to lose it. But a lot of them set stop losses so that they can't anyway. Okay, which takes me on to my next one. Make sure you decide your output. You decide what is the price you're going to sell at. Don't change your mind, which is very easy to do again. When you see something's really surging, you can think this could go up another 5%, this could go up another 20%. Don't change your mind, because it could, and then it could tank significantly straight after you've decided not to sell. So decide your selling point, don't get emotional, don't get greedy, just go for it, and make sure that you've got a stop loss running in the background. So on Bittrex, I'm going to show you this. Basically, you can set a stop loss running in the background so that if the price goes to a certain point, it starts selling, and then it sells the lot. Make sure you've got a stop loss. Decide your output, and then you manually sell. Okay, you don't put a sell order, because if you put a sell order, you can't put a stop loss. If you don't have a stop loss, then you could lose money. So put the stop loss to basically be your sell order, and then you do the manual sell order. So if you're going to sell, you remove the stop loss and you just sell straight away. Okay, and that is how you do it. Welcome to this section on technical analysis. In this section, hopefully, we'll be moving you from kind of basic or beginner level trader to more intermediate advanced trader. Okay, so this is going to hopefully give you the tools to put intelligence and data behind your trading decisions to spot how the price is moving of a cryptocurrency and be able to decide whether it's the right time to buy or to sell a cryptocurrency. So instead of literally just going, oh, I quite fancy putting my money on that one today, this is going to actually give you data so you can make the best decision. This isn't going to necessarily work 100% of the time or on 100% of occasions. But in cryptocurrency, the most important thing is that you're right most of the time. So this area is going to cover bear and bull markets. These are the more popular terms used to describe how the market is moving at the moment. We're going to be looking at times to buy and sell, and how do you identify those times? We're going to be looking at spotting trends in price movement. How has it been moving before? Where is it now? And where is it likely to go? You're going to be able to see whether a crypto is overbought and or oversold. Okay, so whether people have just been buying too much of it or whether people have been selling too much of it, and therefore identifying the best times to buy and to sell. And then we're going to be looking at candlestick analysis, because essentially the price movement is normally represented by a candlestick, and normally they come in different shapes and indicate different things that's going to happen with the price. So we're going to be looking at candlestick analysis. So the first thing to look at is bear and bull markets. What are they? Well, essentially, a bear market is when the prices are going down, normally the red days, when you can see that most people are selling on those days. So there's more selling going on than buying activity. And normally this is an indication of lack of confidence in the market or fear or FUD, which is basically fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Then you've got the bull market, which is much more uplifting, much more positive. Prices are going up, and generally there's more buying activity than selling. During bear markets, these are where cryptocurrencies normally go more up in price and sometimes experience some of the rapid price spikes. Okay, so how do you remember which is which? Okay, the best way to remember what bear market and bull market means is how they attack. So a bear is normally a big, overpowering mammoth of an animal that attacks like this. So if you imagine when it gets its claws, it's normally taller than its opposition. It goes like that, basically. So attacks down. So that means price is going down. Then bull markets, if you watch, bullfighting, then normally when the bull is attacking the bullfighter, they normally go up like that with the horns, go up like that. So they attack up. So that is how you normally remember the difference between the two and how they attack. Bears attack down, bulls attack up. So that is how you understand what a bear and a bull market is. Right, in this lecture, we are going to be looking at moving averages. Now, moving averages is basically an indicator that you can use on these charting tools, whether it's Coinergy or TradingView. Normally, you have these tools available to you. And essentially, moving average is an indicator, and it's an indicator of confidence or fear surrounding the price move. Okay, it's very, very easy to do. So basically, what you do is you go on Coinergy, you select your cryptocurrency. In this instance, I have selected NEO, and this is based on its Bitcoin price rather than USD price. So essentially, it's SAT value. All right. So what you do is you go to the indicator icon here, and you will type in moving average. Now I'm going to click this 3 times, okay, because I want 3 points of moving average. I'll explain more in a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to format them. So this one's going to be a 50-day moving average. This one's going to be a 100-day moving average. And then the third one is going to be 200 days moving average. Now, the 100 and the 50 don't look too dissimilar, so I'm just going to make a 50 bold so you can see the difference. So, now we've got the moving average basically plotted on top of the price. Okay, so what do these mean? So essentially, every time the market's open, there's an open price for a cryptocurrency. When the market closes on a day-to-day basis, that's the closing price. Okay, so what the moving average is basically the average closing price over the last 50 days. And then you've got the 100, which is the average closing price over the last 100 days. And then the average closing price over the last 200 days. All right, so how do these work in the context of applying it to a price? Well, if you've got the 50-day average line, that's normally your first kind of indication of support. All right, so typically if a price is above the blue line, that indicates confidence. The more above it that it is, the more confidence there is, and may actually indicate signs of it being overbought. Okay, so basically, you know, it's very, very popular. Lots of people are buying it and price spiking it right up. Okay, then the closer it gets to that line, indicates a small pullback, a small correction, I suppose. So essentially, it's been overbought, and then people start to sell. So it got closer to this blue line, and then as we go up through time, because NEO has been one of the most kind of popular and insanely growing cryptocurrencies over the last few months. So it got overbought, and then it kind of stabilized around just over the 50-day moving average. And then it hit the support line, okay? So it hit that line, and it didn't go below it, all right? And then that led to a more increased confidence in the market. So there was a bull market here, smashed it. And then it got overbought, what it looks like here, and then the price started to crash and actually broke the 50-day moving average support line, I suppose. So that indicates a relatively significant pullback, but not a major pullback, but quite a significant pullback in the price. Okay, so it went from being tremendously overbought to sold quite massively, okay, to below this price. Okay, so this indicates fear. All right, so this indicates fear. If it's above the 50-day average, that's confidence. If it goes below, it's fear. All right, but it maintained a good level of support, so it wasn't too major. Okay, it had support at the 100-day moving average, which is good. And then it had more confidence, and it went above the 50-day moving average again. You know, people were actually interested in buying more of it. And then what happened in October is we had a massive, massive loss, a massive fall. It tanked. It even tanked below the 100 support line and went down to the 200 moving day average and below, signaling a major correction, a major pullback. Okay, so this is massive fear. Now, in the context of what's been happening in cryptocurrency, Bitcoin has actually is going to be experiencing a fork. So that means a lot of the value goes out of altcoins. And also, during this time, because Bitcoin spikes in value, it actually changes the sats value of a cryptocurrency. So actually, the price up here could actually be the same price here, because Bitcoin was probably, about beginning of October, it was around about 4,500, 5,000. And then it now rose up to 7,500. So that's changed the sats value. All right, so sats is what you're dealing with when it comes to trading anyway. You're not buying in dollars, you're buying in sats. So essentially, if you buy down here, then the sats is based on Bitcoin's current price. If Bitcoin then drops, this sats value goes automatically up because it's less valuable based on the Bitcoin price, or it's more valuable actually based on Bitcoin falling. So this is how you use moving averages. This is a really good way of indicating whether there is fear or whether there's confidence in the market. Okay, and typically where there's confidence, that means that the price is likely to go up. So if we're at this point here, this is healthy buying. Okay, once it goes up to here, this is probably unhealthy buying. But then when it goes down to this level here, this indicates a great time to buy because it smashed the support lines, which means it's probably oversold. It's oversold and there's a lot of fear. And that is the time when you strike it, when there's fear in the market, when there's blood on the streets, when people are panicking, that's when people make money. So this is how you can use the moving average. Welcome to another lecture. Now in this lecture, I'm going to show you how to spot bear and bull markets within a coin, okay? You will also see bear and bull markets happening across all of cryptocurrency, but I'm going to show you specifically for coins, all right? So what we're going to use is we're going to use this tool called Coinigy, and Coinigy is basically a place where you can analyze the movements of coins over time and be able to spot very, very good signals, okay? Spot very, very good signals, when to buy, when to get out, what's happening in the market, where the trends are, all sorts, all right? So we're going to be using Coinigy, and Coinigy is a free tool for the first 30 days if you do a free trial, and then ever after it'll be $15 a month. However, if you're going to be doing cryptocurrency trading for the long term, you know, you're probably going to be spending a lot more than, you know, $15. So it's going to make $15 more of an investment than an expense. All right. So this is what the interface will probably look like the first time you log into Coinigy. Now you can actually make this sync up with your exchange. Okay. So you can actually do buying and selling on here. We're not going to be doing that in this section. What we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at all these different signals we can get from the charts. Right, but this is what it will look like at first. You'll get a list of all of the different cryptocurrencies, all of the different exchanges. You will have the main chart area here, and then you'll have an interface here. This will either have, you know, markets, it will have a particular interface where you can actually buy these coins and all sorts. Okay, but we want to take this panel off, and we're going to be doing our analysis. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is how to spot bull and bear markets when you're looking at a chart like this. Okay, so this is essentially PIVX. Okay, so PIVX has been chosen because this is the last coin I looked at. All right, so PIVX has been chosen, and this is the movement over time. All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding an indicator. Okay, so indication of what's happening essentially. We're going to be using MACD. And a MACD indicator essentially shows the moving average price of, or moving average value of a coin. All right, so that is this section right here. So what I want to do is I want to get the brush up. Okay, so this will be one of the default things that you'll probably see. So the first thing I want to tell you is that a bear market can be signified by an M. Okay, if you see M shapes, that's a bear market. That means the price is about to go down. Okay, if you see a W shape, that is a bull market. All right, so M is bear, W is bull. All right, M is bear, W is bull. And essentially what you need to do is you need to look for the M's and the W's in this MACD indicator. All right, so here's an M. So what happens straight after the M? The price goes down a bit. Right there, you can see the price is going down. Okay, here's a W. So we'll draw that W in, and what happens straight after? The price goes up. So it happens not long after. So you see the W form, and you will know that PIVX is about to rise in value. Okay, and you can see it right here. So once the W actually ends, because this is the signal line in the middle, okay? So this signal line, so essentially when the W ends at the top of the signal line, go in. This is how you spot the potential soaring of a cryptocurrency. So if you had put your money in there, you could ride this wave, okay? Where it has gone from, if we have a look on the right-hand side here, where it says 53730, that's about the price where actually is it's about 522, 53010. Okay, when the W ends. Okay, and then it goes up, 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 up. It goes up to 61,833, which is a load of points added to the value of the coin that you could have ridden if you had got in at this point. Okay, let's have a look for more. Okay, so here's an M. And then as soon as the M comes in, look, the value goes down. Value goes down. So that's when you sell, potentially. If you are a buyer or seller trader, or if you just want to know what's likely to happen next, this M shows the price is about to go down. There's another M right here. So look, up and over. And goodbye. There she goes. Okay, quite a big drop there. So it went from 46167 all the way down to 27620. That is unbelievable. All right, that's a huge drop that you could have spotted with the M. All right, so the M signified that massive drop. And then we've got a W here, and then what happens? Boom! So when you see the W ends, invest, okay? And you can ride this massive wave. Look at it. It went right back up and even further than when it was at this point, okay? And then there's another W right here. No, W. Okay, so basically there's nothing coming up the other side. It's just a straight W underneath the signal line. And look what happens straight after the W. Vroom! Vroom! Right up. So, spotting the bear and bull markets with the M's and the W's on the MACD line is a really good indication of when you know the cryptocurrency is about to soar and when it's about to fall. Okay, so this is one of the basic ones to use. Okay, and all you really need is just to put a MACD indicator on top of the currency, and you literally choose the currency here. You just go PIVX, and it brings it up. Okay, so you select the currency, you run a MAC indicator on top of it, so that you can then see the M's and the W's. All right, and this works. You've just seen me go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 examples of where it's actually been accurate in predicting the cryptocurrency is going to soar or fall. All right, and as you can see with PIVX, a lot of money was made with this W. Look at that. Look at that. That was probably a gain of about 20 times the investment. So if you had invested here and got out here, then you would have realized 20 times your investment. So using the MACD indicator on top of a cryptocurrency that you're going to invest in or that you have invested in is a good way of knowing what movement is going to come next. Okay, so right now we're here. Okay, so we've got, it's a V and then it goes up. So there's no W, there's no M. So that means that it's just basically a fluctuation. But the W right here indicated humongous soaring of the currency. So that is a way in which you can monitor the movements of a cryptocurrency and when you can spot what to do next. Okay, if you see a W forming, that is the time to go in if you haven't already. And if you see an M forming, that is the time to either brace yourself, be ready to buy more coins at a lower price, or actually sell. All right, it depends on how you're feeling about the coin. All right, but using the movement will give you an indication of what you should do next. So I hope that that's helped you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Right, now we're going to be using MACDs as an indicator of confidence and signs of a bull or bearish movement on a coin. Okay, so we're going to, once again, go to our indicators, type in MACD, and we are now going to apply it to the cryptocurrency. Okay, so what you will see here is you're going to see two lines. Okay, so the first blue line is the 12-day exponential moving average. Then the red line is the 26-day exponential moving average. Okay, and then these kind of lines here, these indicate the difference between these two lines. So generally, if the blue line is above the red line, then generally that means that the bars are going to be above this line here. If the red goes above the blue, then it means that the bars are going to be underneath the line. Okay, you can see that W forming right here, like we went through in the previous lecture. So essentially, during an uptrend, the blue line will be above the red line. Okay, when we can see fear start to set in is when there's a MAC crossover. Okay, so essentially there's a MAC crossover right here, and that means a signal in change. Okay, so now fear has set in, and the coin is actually having quite a bearish move. Okay, so that typically is what happens. Now, as you can see here, when you can see that there's some real good bullish signs, you can see that there's quite a difference in the distance between the blue and the red line. Okay, so that distance is signified by how big these lines are going, how high they're going. Okay, and you can see that by how the price has just spiked all of a sudden. Then all of a sudden you see the changing of the guard, which is essentially where now there looks like there's a price on the opposite side of the equation, where actually the fear is setting in, and there is more fear than confidence. Okay, and that is reflected in when the price goes down. So there's kind of two big bubbles here, two big distances between the blue, between the red, which is in the dominant position, and the blue, which is in the submissive position. And so during this period, that's where you see the price going down. And then you can see the crossover again. You can see the MACD crossover, where you can see the blue suddenly jumping above the red line. And then you can see the price is going up. And then all of a sudden, the red line comes back into dominance again, and that leads to the price just going down. Now, it goes down not too quickly, okay? And that's why you can see very, very low distance between the two lines. Okay? You can see that signified here because it's quite a low M forming right there. So you can see that has just taken it right down. And then the blue has tried to get over again and then failed, and now the red line is actually on top. So that means that this is going to continue probably experiencing a bearish move. Now these lines can also represent whether a coin is overbought or oversold. So essentially this is probably meaning it's overbought. If it's such a big rise in the bars, normally means it's overbought. And if there's a big downwards movement, then there's a big rise in the selling activity, and it's possibly being oversold at this point. So it went from being quite high and then just drastically went down, and it's gone down ever since then. So essentially, the time when you want to get in is at the lower end right here. You want to kind of get in when the blue looks like it's about to take over the red. Okay, that is the time that you get involved in the cryptocurrency, not when the red is above. So as you can see here, there was a small period where the blue went above, and that was a small increase in the price. It didn't go up a lot, but enough to make about 5 to 10% gain. Okay, so that is an instance when you would get involved in the trade. That is when you would buy, necessarily. You would buy when the blue starts to take over the red. And likewise, the time to sell is when the red crosses over the blue, and you can see a period of selling going on, and selling being the dominant activity over the blue. So that is how MACD indicators work. I hope that that's made it kind of clear and simple for you, and I'll see you in the next section. Okay, in this lecture we are going to talk about Bollinger Bands. Now, Bollinger Bands are actually used quite commonly by traders. Okay, it's a really good way of seeing if a cryptocurrency is moving in a very volatile way. So if it's very volatile at the moment. Now, volatile means that you can essentially make huge gains when it's very volatile, but at the same time you can make extreme losses. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we are going to plot the Bollinger Bands on top. So again, we bring up our indicators and we put the Bollinger Bands on top of the price. So basically, right in the center, you've got the 20-day moving average. Okay, this is the 20-day moving average. And then the outer bands represent the volatility of the price. Okay, so the narrower they are, the more stable and less volatile the price is in that period. The wider the bands are, the bigger the difference between the two bands over a certain price means it's extremely volatile. Okay, and normally it follows in a pattern. It goes narrow, then it goes wide, then it goes narrow, then it goes wide. Okay, that's just typical pattern. Okay, so anyway, so how these Bollinger Bands really help is when you can see whether something is overbought. Okay, so it looks as if in this instance NEO was rapidly overbought. Okay, so because it has gone outside of the outer band. All right, so that means it's potentially overbought. It's experienced huge volatility, loads of people buying it, maybe to a level that has gone slightly out of hand, which then leads to the volatility on the other side. What goes up must come down. So then, of course, it went up rapidly, then it went down extremely rapidly. And so you can see right here that it goes past the 20-day moving average down to below the outer band right here. So it's gone outside the band, which means that it's probably oversold. So where you have up here, it was overbought. Now you have oversold. Now, oversold is typically a good time to get in, because if it's been sold rapidly, then that means that there's a time that you can get in and possibly make a profit. So it went outside, and then look what happened here. Massive spike, okay? A massive spike, which of course you could buy, you could trade, and then you could get out. And that is what people did, essentially. So people were using their Bollinger Bands. They saw it had gone outside of the band, the lower band, which means that it's possibly oversold, and then they've got up, and then they've gone in, and they've gone, and then it went up. And then it was going up towards the 20-day SMA. And then it went down, okay? It went down again and below the line, but not oversold. So it's basically bearish. And then it went up, and then it went above that line, and went bullish for a little bit, okay? So it went above the line. That triggered a load of sellers to get in as soon as it hit that line, okay? So that sparked healthy. And then it went slightly wide again because it got bought quite nicely, and in fact got overbought, I suppose. And so it made the bands go out wide, okay? And then it led again to a period of selling, okay? So it went down, and then the band's width widened again. So it went narrow here, and then widened, and then it was mainly sales activity. And it hasn't since gone above that line, okay? So that represents that this is a time to be watching NEO, all right? Because it's potentially going to hit that line and skyrocket again. Or if it goes below that line, it will get bought. So every time it's gone below the line, it gets bought. So you can see it hits the line, gets bought, hits the line, gets bought. When it hits the line again, it will get bought. And if it hits the SMA, then it's going to make people a bit more confident about the price of NEO. And so they're more than likely going to buy in at that point. What you can also see from this is you can see kind of wedges forming as well. Okay, so this can be useful when you're plotting your kind of breakout and breakdown. So if you go over this and then put another trend line kind of from here, you can see it wedges. You can see it wedges, and when it starts to wedge, essentially the price is going to go one of two ways. And of course, it went very volatile in the upwards trajectory. Okay, and then we had a very similar one right here. So, you know, if we plot a wedge right there, and another one right here, so we need our 3 points of contact, which we've definitely got. There's another wedge, and then that led to it going down. So when it slightly narrowed, then it led to it going down below that price point. Okay, so this is really good. So you can basically apply, on top of the Bollinger Bands, you can apply the trend lines and basically see if a wedge is going to form. And this will normally tell you where the price is likely to go. So you can use both of these in tandem to basically signify and the coin's value placement in accordance to this line here. If it's around about this, if it's above this line, then it's likely that the wedge could actually form to go up. If it goes below the line, like you can see here, when it starts to wedge, it's likely to break down. So you can use the two in tandem, and this is actually a really good tool. So Bollinger Bands, one of the more popular ones, and this is why. Right, in this lecture, I'm going to show you one of my favorite indicators, and that is the relative strength index. So if we plot again, we go up to our indicators, type in RSI, then it basically plots the price movement against these two dash marks, okay, which is at 70 and at 30, okay? So what you can see here, essentially, is the general trend of the price, okay? So if it is between these lines, that means that it's just regular price action, buying and selling. If it goes above or below the lines, then that means it's overbought or oversold. Okay, so you can see that back in December 2016, Bitcoin got overbought. Okay, so it went up above this line, massively overbought, and then once it hit the third spike out of these three, it tanked. It tanked and went nearly below this line here. So that means essentially that there was panic. Okay, so panic set in and it went down, down, down. So of course, the lower it goes towards this line indicates panic. The more towards this line it goes, it indicates confidence. All right. So essentially speaking, what you can use this for is you can see when is the best times to sell. All right. So when it goes above the line, that means it's possibly overbought, and that's the time to sell. When it then goes down to below the line, that means it's been oversold, and that's the time to get in. So as you can see right here, if you got in at this point, you would have ridden this really nice wave. Okay, it was over the course of months, but then Bitcoin is more of a long-termer anyway. So you would have been able to buy at this point here, ride this wave up to here, sell again, or up here, or there, sell, and then when it goes down below the line, you can buy again. So you could have sold a huge profit up here and bought a hell of a lot more Bitcoin back down here, which allows you again to ride the wave. And then it goes down. But during this fork period, you can see that most people are buying Bitcoin. But you can see where it's slightly oversold, then it goes down. And this is what happened. It did slightly correct. The other day, there was a pullback. Okay, so it pulled back to down this line here, and then it went and got oversold again. Essentially, this is one of those periods when there's a Bitcoin fork, and it does get oversold in that period because people want free cash into whatever Bitcoin gets forked into. So that is a really good indication how you can use this tool to see exactly what stage your cryptocurrency is at in terms of the buying activity or selling activity taking place. So if it's, the closer it gets to this line here, represents the better time to get in, because it means that it's being sold to a point where it's nearly hitting the bottom. Okay, so that's when you buy. And then also when it goes above this line, like it is right now, so if you were looking to essentially sell your Bitcoin, then on the assumption that it goes down again, which it more than likely will after the fall, then that will represent an opportunity to buy back lower. Okay, so you just got to wait for the time. So at the moment, it's on an upwards trend. It's not going down below the line. It's going upwards. Okay, so it may even exceed this, and I think they will actually exceed this overbuying period here. So it's going to go up again, and essentially what you could do is you could sell your Bitcoin, and you could buy a hell of a lot more Bitcoin cheaper once it slumps again. So this is why I really like RSI, because this is really, really simple. It's easy to spot where your cryptocurrency is and if it's a good time to buy. So let me just go to my number one coin, which is Bitcoin. We'll have a look at it on Binance. So if we just zoom in, we're actually nearer the bottom than the top. Okay, so this represents a good buying time. Similarly here, similarly there. Great buying times, okay, because it's not gone anywhere near where it should be. And this is, of course, a high-quality cryptocurrency, okay? So this still represents a great time to buy, because it's absolutely nowhere near the line that shows that it's being bought in quite a manic way, because this line shows that not a lot of people are investing in it right now. So it's a good price relative to where it has been, and a good price relative to where it can go. So I hope that's helped, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Welcome back to another lecture. Now, in this lecture, we are going to be talking about buyer support versus seller resistance. Because when this happens, okay, you will normally see a wavering of the buyer activity and selling activity. You don't know which way it's going to go, okay? And that is where you can make a deduction as to what's going to happen next, okay? Is it going to fall? Is it going to rise? And what to do when that happens, okay? So, the other day, I bought Sia coin. So I'm going to use Sia coin as an example. I bought Sia coin at $4.90. Okay, I went to sleep. I saw the price was about $4.95, $4.94, and I couldn't wait any longer. I needed to go to sleep. So I put a buy order, set overnight. So if the price hit $4.90, it would buy a load of them. Okay, it would buy about 15,000 of them, if I remember correctly. So I went to sleep. I woke up the next morning, and it had soared. The price had soared right up to here, up to $5.90. And I was delighted because I made a ton of points in that trade. So let me just show you the Fibonacci just quickly. So if we just add it at the bottom point here, go up to the top point, and then put a rectangle in here, then you can see anything under 457 is a good buy. Now, I wasn't necessarily sure it was going to go that low, so I thought 490 is still about the 55 Okay, so I put it in at 490, and then it just soared. It soared right up. So I was delighted with the gains that I had made, because I just woke up and I was like, yes, it worked. I read it right. Okay, and I expected it, because at the time there was a crash, of a Bitcoin crash, and what happened is that basically the value of most coins went down. So it was an ideal time to buy, and that is my favorite time, is when there is some uncertainty in what's happening in the marketplace. All right, so if we just move over to the 1 day look, let's have a look at buyer support and seller resistance. Okay, so if we just draw a trend line here, and then draw a resistance line from here to here, you can see that for a period of 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, there was a tussle between selling activity, which are the red candlesticks, and buying activity, which are the green candlesticks. Okay, so you can see there was a tussle. Okay, it was going anywhere between 575 to 555. Okay, where people didn't know if the price was going to continue to go up or if it was going to go down. Okay, so what we had buyer support, which is this line here. So buyers are trying to trade the price up. We've got sellers trying to sell the price down. So we've got a tussle here, and so this is the support line, this is the resistance line, and so you've got the two sides fighting against each other, and who wins determines what will happen with the price. Okay, so we had the sellers trying to bring it down, the buyers trying to bring it up, the sellers trying to bring it down, the buyers trying to bring it up, and you get it. So it kept on going for a while, and then what seemed to happen was this candlestick seemed to break through the support line, and then it slightly dropped. And then what happened is that buyer support actually continued and broke the resistance line, and it went up. And then again, the sellers were resisting, and it brought down the cost again. And so we just had this tussle going on for hours and hours, until eventually buyer support broke and it went up to 603. Okay, so once the buyer support breaks through the resistance line, that means the price is going to go up. So this is a time to keep your money in. If you haven't bought, that's a time potentially to invest. Okay, because the price is going to go up and you're going to make a few coins out of, a few dollars out of that. And now if the seller resistance had won, then that would have been the time to get out. So if the buyer support had won, this would have been called breakout. Okay, so when buyer support wins and breaks through and the price goes up, that is called a breakout. If the sellers win, then that is called a breakdown. So the sellers basically go through the buyer support line, thus creating a breakdown. Okay, so if the buyer support breaks the resistance line, that's called a breakout. If the sellers win, that's called a breakdown. Okay, and this gives you an indication of what to do next. Okay, do you get out or do you buy more? It all depends really on how you see the long-term potential of your coin going. Okay, but if you're doing a short one, okay, then you want to leave at this stage. If you're doing a short-term investment, you want to leave at this stage. And if you see it breaking out, then you basically want to keep it going. Now, over time, you saw that this tussle just kept on going and going and going, and it caused some right zigzags in the market, okay, leaving the market to go right down again. Because basically, if we take a zoomed-in look, you can see that seller resistance has an awful lot of red here. You can see that seller resistance has broke down the buyer support. So the buyers were trying to keep it up, and then eventually they fell under the weight of the seller resistance, and so the price went right down. Okay, so you need to keep an eye on support levels and resistance levels throughout the course of your coin's market movement. Okay, whilst the price is moving, keep an eye on the candlesticks. And if buyer support is winning, then you stay in. And if the seller resistance wins and drives down the cost, that's where you come out. All right. So I hope that's helped you with knowing when to get out and when to stay in. I hope that's helped you with buyer support and seller resistance. And I hope this has helped you with breakouts and breakdowns. So I hope this has helped, and I will see you in the next lecture. Trends. How do you spot trends? Trends give you an indication of where the coin seems to be going. Now, to have a trend, you need to have 3 points of contact with the trend line. So I'm just going to draw out a trend line right here, which will start from the point of its lowest, which is probably a point where you would invest at, okay? So we'll put a trend right here. So there needs to be 3 points of contact. So there they are. So we've got, there they are. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So this is where the coin should be going if we go the points of contact, okay? So it's going all the way over here. So in a way, we haven't gone off trend too much. Okay, now there'll be another trend line right here if we have a look. The trend line that runs here. So all of a sudden, it kind of breaks with trend. And then we've got a trend line going up here. Okay, which gives indication it's going to go right up. Okay, but then what happens is then you've got this happening. Okay, and so this trend, so then it goes off trend. Okay, so we can see that the price is going over here. So there'll probably be a point where it meets this line here, and it will be at 21,3937. Okay, so the price is expected to go up to there. So if you bought at this point, okay, then looking at how the trend line is going with the 3 points of contact, in the long term, the price should go up to here. And as you can see, it's kind of, if it stays at this level, it actually will meet that. So trends are a good way of being able to look at the long-term potential of your coin. Okay, so you can have a look at its bottom point, and you can see how the price has traveled. Okay, and you can make a deduction as to where that price is going to be in days or weeks' time. Okay, do you see what I mean? And then, of course, if you put this up more, then you can see where it's going to go in an even later date. Now, what does happen is you can have a huge spike, and then it goes down below, and then it goes off trend, and then you've got to do a separate trend, okay, separate trend line. But typically with trends, you can see where the price is going. All right, so another thing you could do is you could actually put a line up here to see, what's the best case scenario. Okay, so we've got, 1, 2, 3 points of contact for this trend line. Okay, so it could go anywhere from really sky high up here or over here. And so you've got a bit of a triangle to see where the price is going based on the trend lines. Okay, so this is a really good way of seeing the long-term potential. So waves is something that most expert cryptocurrency traders are raving about. And one of the reasons why is because they have done the trend analysis and they can see that based on the movement of it, it's going to go right up. Okay. Now, this may cause you to reevaluate the situation if the price goes right down. Okay. But at the moment, what this is showing is really good signs of a rise. That's why at this point here, people will be saying, right, okay, the trend seems to be following this. So at worst case scenario, it should be around about here. And if they wait a little bit more for it to come up right here, and then they see 3 points of contact, then best case scenario is going to skyrocket even more. Okay, so that is how you can use trend lines to spot the long-term potential of your coin's movement. Okay, you can kind of see where is the coin likely to go. We can also see the downward side of it. Okay, so this is a more negative trend. Okay, so you've got the line coming down here. So worst case scenario, if we have a look over here, okay, so we've got 3 lines right there, okay, going from that point down here. So it could actually plummet down here. So this gives you really good indication of what the potential movements are of your coin. You can either have it skyrocketing, doing really well, or doing really badly, dependent on the support and the resistance that comes in the coming days or weeks. Okay, but as you can see, there's quite a mix of buyer support and seller resistance, but there seems to be quite a lot of seller resistance here. So this is one that anybody who has invested in this coin should keep a track of. Okay, so that is how to use trend lines. I hope that's really helped you, and I hope that all of this technical analysis is really helping you with being a little bit more intelligent with what you do with your coins and how you buy and sell them. I hope that's helped, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Okay, in this lecture, we are going to be looking at candlestick analysis. Okay, so these are essentially candlesticks. Okay, these are what they are. And the green, and sometimes it's white, so green and white candlesticks means the price is rising, or it's a bullish movement. And then we've got the red, and that is a sell candlestick. And that essentially is a bear movement. All right, so. And sometimes these red candlesticks can be black as well. So there's normally green and white, red and black. All right. So these are the candlesticks that are involved. Now, how do you read them? Because there are different types of candlesticks. You can see a range right here. You can see this almost cross. You can see a candlestick with a wick underneath it. You can see a strong candlestick next to this half candlestick. So how do you read them? Now, a lot of people that do trading literally just use candlestick analysis to be able to read what's going to happen next and literally use it to form most of their trades. So the first thing I want to talk about, because this is probably the most common one that you'll see, is engulfing candlesticks. Okay, and what I mean by engulfing candlesticks is if you get a candlestick like this green one, which signifies buyer support, if next to it you've got a bigger candlestick, one that basically is much bigger than the previous candlestick and it's a different size, then an engulfing red candlestick signifies a bearish movement. Okay, if it comes after the smaller candlestick, and as you can see, what happens as a result of that is the price goes down. Now, of course, the same thing happens on the green side. Okay, so you see this small candlestick, and then you see what's called the hanging man. But I'll talk about that in a minute. So you've got the smaller red candlesticks, and then you've got an engulfing green candlestick, which signifies a bullish movement. Okay, so this means price will go up. So it goes from up, up, a little bit of red there, and then up, 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 up. Okay, so you can see where an engulfing candlestick reads what's going to happen next with the coin value. The next candlestick is called a hammer candlestick, and a hammer candlestick is essentially when it looks like a hammer. Okay, so you've got a little bit of a wick there, and then you've got a small candle right there. That is what's called a hammer. And in fact, it can happen even with a longer handle and a longer candlestick. Okay, so essentially, the candlestick is at the top of a big line. All right? And a hammer normally means that the price is about to go up. Okay, it's quite a strong reversal indicator. So by reversal, what I mean is that you've got the red coming down, and then you've got the green hammer, and then the price goes up. So hammer is normally a good signifier of a reversal in the coin movement. Now, you can get a red version of the green hammer, and this is called the hanging man. All right? So when you've got a red hammer shape, that is called the hanging man, and that's a strong indicator that the price is about to drop. And look what happens as a result of the hanging man. Okay, the price drops. Okay, and then you've got two hammers here basically battling each other. So this is a strong indicator price is going to go up. The price does go up, but then it's a hanging man, and then you've got another hammer, and then the price goes up. Okay, so that introduces to you the hammer, which is when you've got a stick with a green square on it, and the hanging man, which is when you've got a line and a red square. And these are strong reversal indicators. Okay, a reversal in the movement of the coin value. And then we've got two more, which is the upside down hammer, or for the green is called the inverted hammer. Okay, this is also a reversal signal that the price is going to change. However, it's much weaker than the hammer. Okay, so the inverted hammer is a signal, but it's a weak signal, and you need to see how the candles that come after it look to see if it was right. And as you can see here, the inverted hammer was wrong because it was a weak signal, and what happened was the price continued to go down. And the same can be said for the red upside down hammer, which is actually referred to as the shooting star. Okay, so this is also an indicator of a reversal, but a weak indicator. And as you can see here, it's been proved wrong. All right, so I should probably found better examples, but this is just to show you that it doesn't do its job most of the time. You know, the hammer and the hanging man do their job, but the inverted hammer and the shooting star, they don't necessarily do their job. So this is one where if you see an inverted hammer or you see the shooting star, you don't necessarily make a move because they are very weak indicators, as you can see here, because what happened was the price did momentarily go up and then it went down. Okay, and then I'm going to show you one more, which is the doji. Okay, and doji is basically when there is no real candle. Okay, it's more like a cross. Okay, so you've got this kind of doji, which isn't a cross, it's a T, and then you've got this one, which is more of a T, that one, which is a cross, that one's a cross. So a doji means indecision. Okay, so it means that both the selling and the buying is happening around about equal. Okay, so the power is equal. So it means indecision. So you can't actually make a decision if the price is going up or down at this point. So that is what a doji is. So with these in mind, you will essentially be able to read candlesticks. Okay, you'll be able to see if a bullish movement is happening or if a bearish movement is happening based on what the candlestick is that comes up in the next movement for your coin. So let's have a look and see what the last movement was. So the last movement was an engulfing bullish candlestick. Okay, so it signifies that the price should go up from this point. So as you can see, the price has been going down, and then all of a sudden, you have got an engulfing bullish candlestick here, a buying candlestick, which engulfs the smaller red candlestick. So from this point, it should go up. So I hope that that's given you some indication of how candlestick analysis works. I hope this has been helpful. I'll see you in the next lecture. You want to know how likely it is that you can achieve a certain sell order on a cryptocurrency. One of the best tools you can use is the order book. Okay, so I'm going to show you this order book on Bittrex because Bittrex is like the main one. Most people go here anyway. So it kind of makes sense to show you here on Bittrex. So let's just assume that you had some Litecoin, you were wanting to sell some Litecoin, okay? So what you would do, essentially, is you would go to the Litecoin page on Bittrex, and it would normally open this up as a default, okay? So this is the timeline. This is how the price has been performing in the last kind of 24 hours. So you can see this in real time. Then all you need to do is just click on this tab, which is the order book. And then what you've got here is a visual representation of the buy and sell orders, okay? So on the left side, you've got people wanting to buy Litecoin using Bitcoin, and then on this side, you've got people looking to sell Litecoin for Bitcoin. And then up here on the x-axis here, you've actually got the amount required in Bitcoin. Okay, so this is actual Bitcoin units to achieve said amount. Okay, and then along the y-axis, what you've got is all the amounts that people are looking to either buy or sell. So you've got kind of like the smallest buy order, which is 485,000 satoshis. Now it's 13,000 satoshis. And the actual price, the last price was 830,000 satoshis. So it'll take quite a while to get to that level right there. And then you've got the buy order, and then you've got the sell orders over here. And somebody is actually looking at the highest, or near the highest, is 942,000 satoshis. Somebody looking to sell. Okay, so let's assume that I bought at 820,000 satoshis. Okay, so around about this level here. The price at the moment, so this gap in the middle is where the price is right now. And I'm looking to sell for 840,000 satoshis. So I just hover over here, and you'll see how much is required. So what's required is 31 Bitcoin. Okay, so hovering over 31 Bitcoin is required in order for me to achieve my sell price. Okay, and considering that 2,500 or 2,527 Bitcoin has been traded in the last 24 hours on Bittrex, then 30 isn't too much of an ask, is it, to get up to 840? Okay, especially as you can see that the buy orders are essentially swallowing up the sell orders. All it would take is one massive buyer to come in and essentially swallow that up and buy, a huge amount of Litecoin to essentially chop up this sell order. Okay, so therefore making it quite achievable over time. But at the moment, you've got a tussling between the buy and the sell orders, which is why it's happening quick. But if you go to the timeline, wanting to sell for 840,000 sat, this is where the price was literally an hour ago. Okay, so although there has been a bearish movement in the price, there's no reason why this can't go up, given that there is actually a bullish candle. So if you're wanting to profit, essentially, then you can see how likely it is for you to achieve that price and use the order book in order to kind of validate how likely it is. Now, this has already gone down to 29 Bitcoin, so it's just going to get chopped up over time, depending on what's going to happen. This is essentially how you can find out how likely it is and how much is required for you to achieve your sell. So I hope that's helped. I'll see you in the next lecture. I have found one of the best sources of information happening in the cryptocurrency game is Twitter. On Twitter, you can follow the cryptocurrencies, and essentially what they do on Twitter, what these cryptocurrencies do, is they actually inform you of all the latest developments of what's happening. So for instance, Utrust, which is an ICO that I got involved with and I'm following, you can see that one of their team has gone to talk about the future of online payments at Microsoft's website. Okay, so that is really, really important news in terms of driving up the value, because they're getting more exposure. They're getting in front of influential tech companies and people. So you can get a really good understanding of what's happening in, with cryptocurrencies. Okay, you can understand what's happening with a whole host of cryptocurrencies, from ICO to established cryptocurrencies, and you can get a really good understanding of what's happening in the market. So something that I would recommend you do is just follow a load of cryptocurrency, particularly the ones that you really want to understand what's happening in, within the community, what's happening within the team and what they're developing and all of that. So if you look down, basically my follow, the people who I'm following, you can see I've just got a range of people within the cryptocurrency community, and from this I'm able to get the most up-to-date information when it is released from the people themselves, instead of just literally waiting for other people to find out and then post it on Facebook. You can find out directly. So the best thing that you can do is actually join Twitter and follow these cryptocurrency coins, cryptocurrency companies, and influential people, so that you can understand what is going on in the community first and keep tabs on it. It's also really good to follow YouTubers and people that actually are actively and directly involved with the community, because then you can understand what is likely to pump very soon. Because normally, people like me and other YouTubers in the space are normally quite keen to share the information of what they're going to present the video on, and to get other people's thoughts on the cryptocurrency or on innovations happening in the space. So Twitter and Facebook, in conjunction, gives you a lot of resource by which you can glean information to trade. How do you stay on top of the cryptocurrency game? Well, the best thing to do is to join as many communities as possible to get an understanding of what is happening in the market. Now, one of the most popular Facebook groups is the Cryptocurrency Collectors Club for Beginners. And in here, what you will see is basically an understanding of the pulse of what people are liking, what people are not liking, what's tanking, what's looking to thrive, what ICOs are coming up, what people's thoughts are on particular cryptocurrency. Okay, so this is quite a general type of group, and the type of group you can join on Facebook. There's another one as well called the Cryptocurrency Collectors Club, not for beginners, and this is another one. And this also has over 30,000 members. Okay, and again, you can get a really good understanding of what's happening in the market here. Then there's also the Suppoman's Mastermind group, and this is my community of students, which of course you can join in the last lecture of this course. And this will give you an understanding of what people in my community that have learned from my Udemy courses, what they're liking. And these are people that have got the skills, you can be pretty assured that these are the guys that, you know, are reliable sources of information because they've taken the course themselves and they know what questions to ask, what to look for, what criteria to apply. Then what you've got is you've got the specific groups. Okay, so for a specific cryptocurrency, you can join their group. Now, I'm not a part of the NEO group, but you can join the NEO group and get an understanding of what's happening with that particular cryptocurrency so that you can trade the news when it happens. So not only can you join kind of the general groups, the general cryptocurrency groups, but you can join the specific ones as well. Join the coin group as well, and join any discussion groups around that coin also. Congratulations on completing the cryptocurrency trading course. Well done. I hope that this has been a good education in trading and understanding really the tools that you can use in order to make really high quality trades, buy at the right time and sell at the right time. What I'd love for you to do is to join me on Facebook and join me in Suppoman's Crypto Masterminds group. This is a group with over 13,000 people, all students of my cryptocurrency courses on Udemy, all people with good skills and all people that are constantly speaking about hot and trending coins that you can potentially get behind, form a little community with. This is a really active community on SCM, and everybody on here pretty much asks the right questions. Sometimes there are odd questions. People are like asking, you know, or saying things are going to moon or things are going to really, you know, soar today, and sometimes it's without basis. But on a lot of occasions, you can get some really good information here, and a lot of great current market news as well. So I'd love for you to join me here. I'd also love for you to join me on Suppoman's Cryptocurrency Masterminds Telegram group as well, so that I can basically give you first-hand tips and can let you know when I go live and go on videos and basically let you know important information direct on your mobile. So, the links are in the next article. I hope you've enjoyed this course. I will continue to update it as more new information comes out. So, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you in my Cryptocurrency Masterminds group and other courses in the future.